don't let anybody feel stupid because you want all of the ideas, all of them. Every single idea matters. Nothing is dumb.
Be honest with me, honest with me, honest with me. Did I really give it all I had? Be honest with me, honest with me, honest with me.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Sean David Grant here with another video. Today I want to talk about branding, how to choose a brand name. Now, this applies to a product name, an album name, anything that you're rolling out that needs to match a brand style. So I'll be talking about the different aspects of branding, but today is about choosing that name that's going to stand out, that name that's going to really match what you're about, how to figure that out, best ways to come up with that, from scratch. I love the process. I love coming up with brand names. We have several brand names that we've created over the years, and each time it's such a fun process to see what comes out, because it's not something you can predict on the way in, but what comes out can be so amazing if you do it right. So the way we do it here at Trackstars is we do a process of elimination. Now, what that means is you're just gonna brain dump as many ideas as you possibly can. And this always, to me, works better when you have people that represent your target, friends, whoever you could find around you with you. So it's not just coming out of your brain. It's always great to have other people there with you so you can get other ideas that may not originate from you, but hearing it may spark something else in you. So this is kind of the way it works. So what I would do is if we were in person, what I would do is I would have a whiteboard, I would write down all the ideas, and then I would show you how to process of elimination through the names, right? But here we're virtual. You could do this virtual as well on Zoom or whatever you're on. But I would just pull up a spreadsheet. Right now I'm using Google Sheets, and just start soliciting names. If you're doing it by yourself, you can just come up with names. So for me, obviously, I had the creative CEO. That was one of my names that I was coming up with for my channel. But I could have also, on the spot, let me see. I could have also said, I could have come up with something like that, which is silly to me, but here's the rules for this. Nothing is stupid, especially if you have other people around. Don't let anybody feel stupid, because you want all of the ideas, all of them. Every single idea matters. Nothing is dumb, okay? So it doesn't matter how dumb it feels coming out. It doesn't matter how dumb it sounded coming in. Write them all down, right? So let me see if I could brainstorm a couple more. Okay, so here are some of the names I just came up with quickly off the top of my head. I would say give yourself 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If you have more people in the room, give yourself a little bit more time, and just brain dump as many as you can. I would say I would be looking to get closer to 15 to 20 names on the board, but this is a good start for me, right? So the object here, and this is what we like to do, is battle these names out against each other, okay? So what I would do is say, okay, let's take Launchpad and then versus Imagine Me. If I had to choose one of these names for my channel or my business or my album or whatever it is you're working on, if it had to be this, which one would I rather it be? What that does is it kind of limits your options. Instead of trying to choose from a whole list of options, when you just battle one against another, it really focuses you, and it really makes you decide which one of these could I not live without, or which one of these could I not imagine having as my channel. All right, so what I like to do is, for instance, like for my album, I would say Sean David Grant, Imagine Me, Sean David Grant, Launchpad. whatever goes along with your brand, if there's a name that goes along with it, go ahead and put all that there. Put whatever needs to be around it to feel like it's going to be your real official name, and see how it sits on you. If I had to choose between Sean David Grant Imagine Me and Sean David Grant Launchpad, considering all the things that I'm trying to do with my channel, I think I would have to eliminate Imagine Me. Like that's a cool name and it could be used for other things, but I'm going to cross out Imagine Me. So Launchpad lives. Okay. All right. So let's do it again. All right. So Imagine Me is gone. So put it in the no pile, and let's go Sean's World versus, this is supposed to say Fuel. Sean's World versus Creation Fuel. I personally hate both of these, but if I had to choose, would I realistically call my thing Sean's World? Probably not. So I'm going to eliminate Sean's World. Now, you may make totally different decisions. This is based on my brand and what it sounds like coming off of my tongue. You know, this is personal. So you have to decide what you can live with, right? And again, if you're in a room full of people, you're going to be voting, right? So if hopefully what will happen is that somebody will really, really love one of these names and they'll fight for it, right? And they'll try to convince the group and they'll be like, oh, come on, man, think about it. If Creation Fuel, man, like think about it. You could have like, you know, like a gas pump in the logo and blah, blah. Like they'll be like fighting for it. And that's good because you want people to take ownership over these names. Even if they end up losing, you want them to be invested, right? So I'm doing this by myself, so I'm not as invested in these as I would if I was in a room full of people. But still, you know, all right, let's keep going. Created to Create versus Text Space. All right, for me, I would probably, it's not like I love Created to Create, but Text Space is a little too generic for me. If I called my channel Sean David Grant Text Space, it's an aspect of what I want to talk about, but it doesn't really hit my brand, which is about creatives, about being creative, about using your gifts. So Text Space is not really for me. Could be a great name for somebody else, but not for me. So I'm going to move that to the no pile. All right. And then we just keep going. Let's say Rendered. All right. Rendered is kind of playing off of, render because I do video, you know, so you render out a video. We actually have a brand called Render, so that's why it came to my mind. But let's just go with that, and let's battle that against the Creative CEO. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should have called it Rendered. Now, for me, of course, I would go with the Creative CEO over Render because it's more specific to what I'm doing. So Rendered is creative, and it could be a good name for something else, but I want people to know exactly what I'm talking about right away. So the Creative CEO wins for me on that round. So you see, like you're kind of like, you don't have to choose from a big old list. You're kind of just battling them out. And as you go, when you start getting down to 3-2 names, you start to be like, wow, I really like these names. Like because they've won so many battles along the way, I really like these names now. And that was going to be really hard to choose. All right, so let's do Created to Create versus Creation Fuel. Just randomly grab. Try not to do the same ones over and over again. Randomly grab. For me, I don't like Creation Fuel at all, so I'm getting rid of that. I don't even need to know what it's going up against. I just would never call my thing Creation Fuel. So now we're down to 3. So let's keep going. Launchpad versus Created to Create. Now, I like Launchpad because it implies that I'm helping other people launch. Like, so you're on a launch pad, I'm the launch pad, and you're blasting off. So I like the imagery of that. Created to Create. Created to Create sounds more like a motto to me than a name. You know, something that you would say after your brand than the actual brand name. So I'm going to eliminate Created to Create. Now, you could take a lot longer to do this than I'm doing. Hopefully you will, because you'll have other people there. But just keep paring them down. So now I'm down to the finals, right? The Creative CEO versus Launchpad. Now, I can make a big argument for Launchpad being a better brand name for a business than for a individual. Okay, so the Creative CEO to me better describes who I am, Launchpad to me sounds like a better name for a business. Now, the other thing you also have to consider when you're coming up with brands, whenever you get down to like one or two that you really, really like, start researching to see if other people have that brand. So you can make sure you get the website, you can make sure you can, get all the legal stuff taken care of, because you don't want to go through all this process. Trust me, we've done it with Trackstars where we've had these big legal battles over the name. You want to make sure that you have pretty good clearance to have that name for sure without any fights. So the more unique it is, the better. But just keep all those in mind when you're eliminating. Those are also factors, not just it sounds good, but how common is this name? Is this going to be really hard to secure? That may cause it to get eliminated, even if you like it more than another name. So for me, of course, I picked Creative CEO, so I would be crossing out Launchpad. And then you know what I would do? If I really loved the Creative CEO and I was like, man, that's it. That's the name. What I would say then is go with it. Like, trust your gut, start, go through the process of finding out if it's available, all that kind of stuff. For me, this is not the official name of my channel, so I didn't care as much about it being super, super unique. My name is the name of the channel. But if it was going to be the name, like the official name, I would spend a little bit more time researching it. But for me, that worked. But let's say, especially when you're in a room full of people, let's say the name is like, it's cool, but it's not like a home run, but it's better than all of these guys over here, right? What I would say then is eliminate all these, get rid of them, and start over with the Creative CEO as one of your first options. Do another brain dump. Come up with some other names that are, this could take a long time now. I'm not saying this is a fast process. Come up with a whole new list of names. See if the Creative CEO can survive the next round and the next round. Maybe it comes down to the Creative CEO versus a new name you really, really love. Now it's like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Now we have options to where if you could go with the Creative CEO or you could go with this new winner of this new round. Like now you can't go wrong because you have so many options now. So just keep running through this round by round until you feel super confident that this name has survived the test, right? It survived the test. You get some good feedback from your immediate core. It's just a great way to find brand names. So this is what I did for my album. That's what we did for, our other brands like Nectar and Render and other names like Line for Line, things like that. That's how we came up with those names because it just survived so long that we're like, we got to use this. And sometimes some of the names you crossed off, maybe you don't need to get rid of them. Maybe you need to save them in like a little, hey, these are names we've come up with in the past. Maybe it didn't work for this particular brand, but maybe it's a really, really good name that needs to be used for something else. That's my advice on that, guys. Hopefully you like this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, tell me what you want to learn. Tell me what you want to learn from me. I would love to help you in any way I can. Love you guys. Peace.